would like to call to order the special meeting of the Palm Springs Public Arts Commission for Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. Okay, would you do roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Newkirk. Here. Commissioner Favreau. Present. Commissioner Armstrong
Present.
and Commissioner Pritchard.
Present.
And for the record, we also have new Commissioner Chris Ramirez, who has joined the meeting. Mr. Ramirez, until you are sworn in, you will not be able to vote on matters. However, we are expecting the city clerk to be attending this meeting, so hopefully it will be soon.
All right, thank you.
So then item C is to welcome our new and reappointed commissioners. Congratulations to Commissioner Pavo for her reappointment, and unfortunately due to a family emergency, she's not able to attend the meeting. But I'm very excited to welcome Christopher Ramirez to the Arts Commission after a couple of years of pleading with him to apply and pleading with the city to appoint him. So congratulations and welcome.
Thank you very much. If I could just make a quick note, I wanted to thank you for having me here. Also as well, I'm looking forward to communicating and working with each and every one of you, but also continuing to uplift the community and the neighborhoods, but also bringing a fresh and inclusive and global perspective here to continue to really make this an arts and culture hub in the city of Palm Springs. So thank you.
Bravo and welcome. All right, so we'll move on to item D, which is elections for Public Arts Commission Chair and Vice Chair for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. I'll start off. I would like to nominate for the Chair, Commissioner Armstrong. And Jade, I forgot, do we need a second to the nomination or just ask her for any more nominations?
Why don't we get a second to be safe?
All right.
I'll second that nomination.
Yeah, I guess straight to a vote.
Yes.
That's okay. Well, it was a little goofy with sort of three members who are voting, but sorry, Chris. All right, all in favor of the election of Commissioner Armstrong as our chair? Aye. You can't vote for yourself.
I can't vote for myself. Can I?
I think you can.
Oh, then I say I too.
Well, wouldn't we sort of have to if we're a commission of five? You
Yeah,
would need
right.
three to.
Yeah, so, okay, yes, me.
Thank you. Commissioner Armstrong, would you do the?
Yes,
nomination for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Newkirk as Vice Chair for the 2023-2024 fiscal year of the Palm Springs Public Arts Commission.
And I will second that nomination.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Well, then, now that we have a new chairperson and a new vice chairperson, I will turn the meeting over to our new chairperson, Chair Armstrong.
I would like to make an acceptance of the agenda as seen. If there's any comments?
I have no comments, but I'd second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Time for public comments. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Public Arts Commission on items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission, and agenda items if a member of the public cannot be present later in the meeting at the time the item is heard by the commission. Additionally, members of the public may address the commission on each item listed on the posted agenda at the time each item is heard. Although the Public Arts Commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker.
For those of you on Zoom who would like to make public comment, please raise your hand. Thank you. We have Lex Ortega.
Can I go ahead and start?
Yes.
Thanks, Jay. Hi, Public Arts Commission. Thanks so much for your service. My name is Lex Ortega. I'm a resident of Palm Springs, and I am speaking to item J1. There's a discussion item regarding the removal of art that's on utility boxes at 1305 North Plum Canyon Way. 1301 is actually the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert. I worked with a commissioner to identify an LGBTQ community member to paint those public boxes. I work at the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert. I'm the Director of Education and Advocacy. We are, as far as I'm aware, totally pleased with the community members' work. Part of representing and being a representative of an LGBTQ community center is making space for community members to be empowered and to step into leadership positions of their own design, right? We partner with community members to do that every single day within our building. And so I'm a bit disappointed to see why there's a request to remove that. As far as myself as a member of the leadership team and also confirmation of our landlords, that request did not come from us. We worked hand in hand with the city once again. So I hope that you will take my comment into consideration as you vote on this particular item. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment, Lex. I ask that you wait around until we actually vote on that so you can hear the rationale for this point being on the agenda.
I have to leave at 6, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to.
We can clarify now that.
Well, we can clarify now that the issue isn't that the box is subject matter or the artist, it was that the wrong box was painted. And it's a box that's not owned by the city.
Anyone else, public comments who's participating in Zoom? Jamie O'Neill. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm the artist who painted the box, and I actually asked for the address, and Shonda sent me a picture of that box, a photograph, and that's why I painted that box. When you were authorized to paint.
Again, all I can respond, Jamie, is I was not part of that communication back and forth, but we were informed by SCE that the wrong box was painted. So we have to remove the artwork on that box.
We're gonna pay you. Ask them when you can expect payment.
Whoops. Okay, so will I still be paid for painting that box?
I believe your check was being processed.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, that's too bad because it even had the same dimensions as what I was sent. Okay.
You just raise your
Whoops,
hand.
there you go.
Mute yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wanting to make public comment, please raise your hand. We have no other
No other public
public
comment.
comments, Mr. Chair.
Okay, remarks from the chair. This has been a very, very busy past 6 weeks for me personally, because a lot of the projects that we've been working on for the past year and a half, mostly the past 6 months, are coming to fruition. The application for Pillars of Palm Springs is now live, thanks to the efforts of Jay Barada and Cindy Cairns and the IT department and the procurement department and the PR department. So we're pulling in every department to get this live. So I encourage all the commissioners to send this out to their entire artistic network because we want to solicit as many artists as possible. And we want to get as many diverse backgrounds as possible and different skill sets as possible. But we think this is an amazing opportunity. And once we get more of a sense of when the artists are going to be coming in, then I will be able to address it at our next commission meeting for next steps on that.
Thank you. I think I just want to say thank you to Commissioner Pritchard. I believe this will be your last. Is this your last meeting?
It is.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your service, especially over the last year plus over the sort of chaotic and changing membership of the commission and taking on so many new projects in the last year. And we will definitely continue to turn to you for guidance and advice as we bring some of them to fulfillment. So thank you so much.
Next item for discussion and approval, item 1. discuss and approve a budget of $1,500 to increase contract with Tyson Knight to remove paint from authorized utility boxes at 1305 North Palm Canyon. As I mentioned earlier, this is not a statement on the aesthetic of the piece that was applied or the artist or the surrounding area. It was more so that the wrong box was painted. And we found out about that when we were contacted, the assistant to the city manager was contacted and said the wrong box was painted and it's a box that's not city property, so it needs to be removed and repaired. Any questions from the commissioners on that?
Yeah, I'd just like to ask you about the $1,500 going to Tyson Knights. Because we've had him under contract before. Actually, we currently have him under contract to the end of June. Although the monies approved for this contract period have been used up. So is there any issue with us assigning this directly to Tyson?
This would be an amendment to his current contract, which is at $20,000 right now.
Mhm.
And I believe I think the maximum before having left it is 25,000. So this would just seek to amend his current agreement.
All right, so if we're doing that, could we make this an amendment to add $5,000 to Tyson Knight's contract to do the repair on this specific box and any other repairs before the RFP goes out? Because we already have other issues with boxes and benches that need maintenance that aren't going to get done because the budget is expired.
I would believe so.
All right, so we can amend it 5K.
May I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
I'm just curious, how often are these boxes? Do they need repairing? Is it something that's a regular occurrence, or is it every so often where there's unwanted paint or markings on the box?
Yeah, it's actually really sort of very occasionally. So when we find a box or a bench that's been tagged or any sort of graffiti or damage. And Tyson has been doing this really since the inception of the project. And he has the capability and the knowledge and the skill set to go in and repair anyone's artwork to make it look like the artist has just finished it.
Okay.
And apart from the tagging or other, it's situations like this where there was
Right.
something, and
Yeah,
we had an incident in April where the box was painted. There was a repair needed with the lighting and the traffic lights, but the artist had painted over the keyhole and the actual seam. So there's repair needed for sort of project management issues as well.
And Tyson has also been doing basic cleaning. Because it was determined that we can't use city staff because of the strength of their power washers. So it damaged their work.
Got it.
So that's part of his contract as well.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I think just another clarifying question. So it's the case that because it's not city property and the box actually belongs to the utility company, we're essentially required to remove the work.
And if there's any problem with the box due to our covering it with paint, we're then liable.
Okay, thank you.
So put it up to a vote.
That was motion. I would like to make a motion to discuss and approve a budget of amendment of 5,000 to increase the contract with Tyson Knight to remove the paint from the unauthorized utility box at 1305 North Palm Canyon and to extend his monies to allow for him to do maintenance on any bench or utility box necessary until the $5,000 is used up.
Second. Oh, I thought you did that. Didn't you do it?
Oh, but that was the motion, you seconded it.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the motion. Okay, or now we can vote.
Yeah, we can vote.
Yes.
Okay, vote. Yeah,
we
just a
can-
quick question. We have a hand up. Can we take a public comment at this time?
Yeah.
Public comment has
Closed.
passed.
Do we want to wait for the vote until, of course, it's worded?
My comment was about the box.
Public comment is closed, sorry. Go for it. Vote.
You're at your pleasure, commissioners. If you'd like to do the oath first and have a fourth vote.
I think that would be nice.
Yes, let's interrupt our meeting for the vote.
Yeah.
Okay, Brenda Prince, City Clerk. Brenda Prince, City Clerk. I have an oath of office here for Christopher Ramirez. So thank you so much for volunteering your time to serve on this important board. And I'd like to offer you your oath so that you can participate in officially the meeting. So if you would stand and raise your right hand, and I will administer the oath for you.
I,
State your name,
Christopher Ramirez,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California,
That I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
That I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sign this one, I'll give you one for your record, and then I'll take one for our record. For your record?
Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Everyone.
So now we can vote.
I thought I asked for a roll call, right?
Yeah, so you can go first.
Yes. Well, if Jake calls him first. Have to roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Yes. Commissioner Newkirk,
Yes.
Chair Armstrong,
Yes.
sorry, Commissioner Pritchard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Motion passes.
This leads to the next item, which is to discuss and approve the end of the utility box project and require all in-process projects regarding utility boxes to be complete by June 30th, 2023. I pulled up the first staff report from the utility box project, Stop in the Name of Love, from February of 2021. And at the time, the project was approved in the middle of the pandemic, and it was a way to get art into the community around in various neighborhoods. In that staff report, they presented a series of pre-approved commission designs, pre-approved artists, and pre-approved locations. Since that time, the commission has shrunk from 7 people down to 5 people. And of course, with the 5 people, your quorum issues get more complicated. So getting more than one commissioner working on a project is a challenge as well. So there have been some management challenges with this program. And situation like the one we just said, where it's hard to get 2 people within the same place in agreement, and this is what's happening. Now, I personally believe that programs like this that are smaller programs that are throughout the neighborhood are important for the Public Arts Commission to have. Because I think it's important for us to appeal to and engage with lower income artists, newer artists, non-traditional artists, because they all bring a diversity of thinking, a diversity of background, and a diversity of worldview into the Public Arts collection. I think by having a program that we can't quite get a handle on yet, does a disservice to those artists, though, as we just heard with Jamie O'Neill, that their work gets caught up in a quagmire of approvals. So we need to pull back. I believe we need to pull back from this program, shut it down, rethink it if possible, or rethink another program along these lines that will enable us to reach into the communities and position these artists in their best light possible. And I don't know if there's anybody, and again, that doesn't mean we're not painting over the boxes of the ones that have already been approved. They're here to stay. We're still going to continue cleaning them and repairing them, but we will not do any new boxes moving forward. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, But I'm totally in agreement with shutting down the project as it stands right now. But going back to the importance of us first doing the downtown city benches and then adding on the utility box project was a means and a way for us as the Arts Commission to hire and employ and get money into the pockets of artists. And we did this sort of leading into the COVID time, and this is sort of an extension of that period. So it is an extremely important aspect of what the commission does, but this particular project needs to and get sort of redescribed, reimagined. And if the commission moving forward decides that we want to do more utility boxes, or perhaps becomes a different entity, so we do have that level of operation with artists that want to just do a small project, and that's would serve them very well.
Vice Chair Newkirk.
Yeah, I would just like to add, let's keep this in mind as we approve new projects going forward, that it's probably a good thing to be thinking about the end date for programs like these once we initiate them. And I know that I say that knowing that we have the neighborhood grant program going on, and that's sort of like an ongoing rolling application with not a defined ending. But if we're gonna, any new program that's sort of open for artists and has multiple pieces to it, if we can say it's gonna run for 1 year, 2 years, and then we sort of know going into it that that's the time frame we're working with, that would be good.
Well, I also think that, one of the challenges with this program is, as I said, it was approved in February 2021. So and at that time, all of the artists were approved and all the locations were approved. So moving forward, the next iteration, maybe it's a matter of approving only a third of the artists and then a third 6 months later. So you're not having to deal with artists who might have moved away. Right. That's another one. These people aren't necessarily sticking around for 2 years waiting to rent a utility box. So I think it's not only a conceptual change, but an operational change we need to make.
Well, yeah, the operational change is important, because when we did the downtown benches, we actually did them in 3 phases.
Yeah.
So we identified 15 to 20 benches per time and moved forward. The designs were approved and painted within a couple of months. So, and also moving forward, when we have a project like this, that we can have the lead commissioner and with the backup commissioner, so that hopefully the commission will grow to 7, so it's easier to have 2 people, not worry about the quorum thing, but it's just, because it is a lot of work, and a lot of people do have daytime jobs, or like Commissioner Pavo on call doing go-sees and interviews for projects in Los Angeles. It's a very time-consuming thing, so.
Well, volunteering on commission is not supposed to be a full-time job, right? And so chasing after these boxes and the artists and trying to make sure the right box is there and everything's done, that's a lot of legwork. So anything we do that's this complex with that many moving parts, we need to make sure that there are at least 2 commissioners attached to it. So Commissioner Ramirez.
I agree with all of you in hearing from the public comments today of such, operational issues, I think, and also having an end date, I think, is just a great idea with any new programs. But to your point, Russell, having 2 commissioners perhaps on one supporting project really keeps the accountability up. I'd like to make a motion on this.
Good, excellent.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to end the utility box project.
Okay. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item, to discuss and approve a budget of 2690 to repaint 9s and 11s to artist specifications. This was a piece that's in Demuth Park. And the company we hired to repair it was given faulty parameters on which to repaint it. The artist saw their final work and said that's not the color it was intended. So this is just a clerical error that we need to cure. Any comment?
I'm ready to make a motion if I may. I would move that we approve the budget of 2690 to repaint 9s and 11s to the artist specifications.
Second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chris?
I'm gonna abstain. I'm not too familiar with this one, but okay, but the motion passes.
Next one, discuss and approve a budget of $25,000 for on-call engineer services to prepare public art installation plans. And I will ask Director Murata to explain this one.
Commissioners, your projects have gotten increasingly larger and larger. To the point where engineers are necessary to facilitate their installation. And so we're finding that with the daring installation proposals that you put forward, there's a need to make sure the safety factor is still there in terms of wind and structural support for these items. So, as opposed to having to identify artists or put this onto the artist, and some artists do provide their own engineers. But in cases where it's work on public property and they are community-based and smaller organizations, we'd like to be able to make sure we have a qualified engineer who could design the installation and provide that to our building department for approval for the installation.
So my question for you is, and I'll address one of the issues why this came up with right after this, but at what point will we need to engage the engineer for this? Is it after approval, pre-approval for the staff report?
I've kind of envisioned this engineer participating in these meetings. So listening to the projects as they come through, flagging those that may need some engineering design work.
Okay.
I'm just not sure if they can attend all the meetings or if it's worth it to the commission to pay for that hour and a half of time. But to answer your question, Mr. Chair, I think from the inception of the project, we were as possible.
So, and how long do you think we'll need for that engineering approved, disapproved? Is it the sort of thing where they listen to us and not give it to us for a month, or will it be a week?
How I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think I can answer the question. Generally, when we're working with an artist, they come up with the schematics for the drawing for the installation. Those drawings can go directly to the engineer, and a report can be done from that. So it should be very immediate.
So
And the engineer wouldn't necessarily need to attend meetings. He or she, pardon me, just needs to have the ability to review the documents and bring it to us prior to we go through our approval process. Because the great thing about having an engineer that we're paying for, when an artist is doing a budget, unless their contract is signed and they get a deposit, they can't really be expected to pay for the engineering report necessarily. So this allows us to have the engineering report done and understand that the city knows that it's sound and stable. We know that it's sound and stable, and the artist knows that it's sound and stable. So there's just one more question to Jay with the 25K, or is this going to be an RFP over a certain period of time, or is this, because generally we've been doing the RFPs and we voted to do a couple of them which haven't even gone to RFP yet. So is this going to be a 3-year, 25,000 over those a 3-year period?
It would basically be collecting bids, and a 3-year period seems reasonable with 2 1-year options, which is what we typically do. And the plan is, if this is approved by June 29th at the city council meeting, we would have items for an appraiser, for the emergency cleaning and maintenance, and for this on-call engineer.
Okay.
Going on the same staff report.
Yeah, because I just asked, because with the upcoming project, the Pillars of Palm Springs, we're looking at 6 art installations with a fair amount
It'd be
of
important for that one particularly.
25K, this is going to be gone.
And, I'm also thinking something that's been top of mind lately, Jagger's Lot G, with the engineer, where that one, we would not sort of engage a specific artist. It's really more of an overall program. And so that onus is on us to then get that step for that engineering report. So that we know, and that, I guess that's my point about what point and something like that would we gauge them in, but I guess it would be case by case basis.
They're very early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, once we've identified an artist for a possible project.
Yeah.
We need to determine the soundness of that project.
And let me just give some background on that. One of the things that Russell and I have been working on for the past 2 weeks, I guess, is we approved the Pop Art Park for Lot G. We were not aware that there is no ability to dig down on Lot G. There's only 4 inches of DG there, and then you hit the roof to the garage. So we could not support the popsicles at 36 inches down. And then we also, what was approved was to do a big cement pad for the lawn chair. But because there were weight restrictions over that area in Lot G, we couldn't do any cement pads in there as well. So we had to quickly deal with engineering. Jay and I had an emergency meeting with the building department, but we got a solution. And the solution is to use steel plates. So in situations like that, we're going to use steel plates to weight everything down. And they spread it out. They're not as heavy as cement, and we have easy access to them. The kind of steel plates that you put on the road when you dig up the road and they lay them down. So that was one that I guess at some point we'd have to pull in the city and this on-call engineer before we even consider putting art on that location.
Right,
Yeah, and then we can determine,
or to help find a solution on how to do it.
or to help find a solution, exactly, yeah. So, okay, any other questions on this?
Yeah, I'd like to just make a quick question, and these are engineer services we've used or the city's used before for previous
Well,
art.
it's a request for proposals.
Right, we collect bids from engineers who can
Perfect.
do this work.
All right, thank you for the clarification. Got it.
So if we don't like them, it's their fault. That's the beauty of dealing with the city, is their procurement handles all the stuff.
All of that. stuff,
Yeah. Okay,
Shall I make a motion?
any other questions, Bill? No, okay.
Or I'd like to make the motion that we approve a budget of $25,000 for an RFP 3-year time period for on-call engineer services to repair engineering reports for public art installations.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Last one, discuss and approve a budget of $500 for a plaque and popsicles installation in engraved brushed steel from Best Size to conform to the correct language and new site. As I said, we're putting popsicles. We found a way to integrate them into Lot G. And one of the things that Russell and I have been discussing is creating a consistency with all of our signage. So we want to get not only consistent look, a consistent size, but consistent language as well. Because there's probably 6 or 7 different wordings and phrases and things like that. So we just want to simplify it and get it so it's going. Now, as an aside, when I presented this concept to council, Councilman DeHart actually requested that we find a way to educate viewers on the background of the artists of these pieces. So that goes beyond the plaque, and it would be something along the lines of a QR code. And something like Lot G, where we're creating a series of pieces together, we can do that as one QR code with all the items there together. So we engage people walking around. So that's something we need to talk about, and we can talk about at the next meeting. But I'd like you to put some thought into it of how we can group these, not only for simplicity reasons and cost reasons, but also to engage people to walk around a certain area where there's multiple pieces of art. Okay. Somebody like to make a motion? Yours? No?
I just did the last 2.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a budget of $500 for a plaque for the popsicles installation in engraved brushed steel from Best Signs to conform to correct language and the new site.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Project update. So the airport mural. The airport mural, we have approval from council to do this airport mural. For reference, Chris, it is a mural in the, I think I mentioned it to you when we met. It is a Palm Springs welcomes you mural. We sort of kept this project waiting for a new commissioner. I thought it was a good opportunity for a new commissioner to get engaged quickly. I know when Barrett and I joined our first year, we were like, how do we get started on projects? What do we do? What happens? So we have 2 projects we've sort of been holding that new commissioners can take on and sort of learn the ropes and the approval process. They're pretty straightforward. So there are a couple artists that we've considered already. Nothing's been solicited. So next steps on this one would be to, for the commissioner or commissioners working on this, to choose an artist and then to present it to the commission with a sketch. It then needs to go to the airport staff for approval, and then to the airport commission for approval, and then to city council for approval. Luckily, we don't need to engage our new on-call engineer for this, because that would just add another 2 to 3 weeks of approval. But this is a fairly straightforward project. And I don't know if Vice Chair Barrett wants to work with you on it, or just as a way to get it going. I'm happy to continue working on it, but I think it's an easy, nice little thing to do. Unrelated to this, but kind of related, when I was at the airport with a tour of the artwork, it was a continuation of the tour that Jay and I did with the museum. And we're going to be moving some of the pieces around. A lot of the pieces that the museum that they own need to be slightly cleaned up a bit and refurbished and repositioned. They're going to be bringing in 1 or 2 more pieces of artwork. And then we determined that we need to move a lot of the pieces into new location for 2 reasons. One, they're really poorly sited right now. You don't even know that they're there and they're meant to be public art. They're just sort of pushed off into a corner. And I think we need to frame it properly. We need to make it engaging, and we need to inspire people who are sitting there between their flights. And so that if they're leaving, they have a really positive visual and imagery of Palm Springs. So Adam Lerner and I reviewed a plan, which I will address at the next commission meeting. Just a general placement plan, not specific artwork, but it's grouping it together. One of the challenges we face is that the airport is doing some expansion work. And so we don't want to do anything where they're doing their expansion work right now. We just want to let that go. And we're going to focus on other avenues within the airport. So that one is there. And then the next one is the Francis Stevens Park tablets. This is something that Vice Chair Newkirk and I were working on. And the idea is to have a series of tablets in Francis Stevens Park. At the last commission meeting, we presented 8. And they would change on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. And as we were talking about this, Commissioner Newkirk, Vice Chair Newkirk nearly had a heart attack trying to deal with all that and all the different art. And he's like, oh my God, this is going to be insane. And I said, I agree. I presented it to a councilman who wanted some feedback. And his first response was, I love it. And then he said, two questions. He said, why are you doing it along Indian Canyon? Do it in the middle of the park. And then he said, why 8? You're going to drive yourself crazy. And he said, maybe do 3 rather than 8. And I said, okay. But I want to throw something else out of the commission. I want your thoughts on this is at the last city council meeting, when I presented the ideas for the pop-up park, it passed unanimously, but council feels very strong we need to focus on bringing art to each of the individual parks. And some parks are easier than others. You know, you have the James O. Jesse Community Center, which is big and open, not a lot of shade, and it's very windy. And there's a lot of DG. So if you do any bright colored artwork there, it needs to be properly coated or it gets sandblasted every day. Then you have Victoria Park, which is undergoing a major renovation and a major new turf, and they have a lot of new playground equipment coming and a massive shade structure coming as well. But they still want public art there. So we need to find a way to get artwork there that will be framed properly and stand on its own and not conflict with this brand new big bright playground equipment. And it's not a big park. And then we have Demuth Park, where we just installed the 3 John Clement pieces, and they look amazing, and they're bright and they're dominant, but there's still a lot of space there for art. We also have Baristo Park, which is a much smaller park, but it deserves some sort of art as well. Now, the majority of Baristo Park is playground equipment, but it doesn't mean that we can't be creative with how we do public art there. I was thinking then, and again, I don't have a solution on this, maybe there's a way we take this idea of these social advocacy tablets or walls that engage the community, give them an opportunity to make statements. And maybe we don't do it in just Francis Stevens Park. Maybe we do a couple of them in other parks as well to engage the community. And what made me think of that was when Shan Carr, who's very quiet and she's on mute right now, did Demuth Art in the Park. And she engaged the community with her painted benches and tables as part of the community art grant. And the community was very engaged in every aspect and did that amazing Demuth Art in the Park and Demuth Art in the Park in the dark. So it's like, maybe we do something like this in Demuth Park as well. Maybe we
write up a very brief statement of what I was talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Chair,
and that's it.
And vote. Chair Armstrong, I just would like to ask a quick question regarding the airport mural.
Sure.
Absolutely would love to collaborate with the team here. Just interested in the dimensions of the wall, and I'm assuming it will be past security, so for incoming tourists and guests as well as.
Yeah, the wall, actually, I have the dimensions, I'll email them, and Jay can do them, I'll send them to Jay so he can attach them to the minutes. Oh, we don't do minutes, do we? Sorry.
No, we don't.
We used to.
I can send them out.
Yeah, Jay can send them out. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah. Or just like a photo or dimension.
Yeah, I've got a photo and I've got dimensions. And it is past security, it's across from the Kennedy bust. You know, it's the sort of the not the Sonny Bono one where you go up, it's the one you go to the side, what do you call it, the annex.
Okay.
It's between the bathrooms and there's a baby changing station there, but it's an area that is great because anybody who gets off the plane or before they get on the plane, if you're with anybody else, you're standing there waiting for them.
Right. Good point.
And it's just, you know, we do this big, bright, beautiful welcome to Palm Springs, or Palm Springs welcomes you. People will take their picture with it.
Perfect. Thank you.
So it should, you know, what I pitched to the airport commission and council was sort of retro modern looking, like a retro modern postcard. Heavy on typography. So people can stand in front of it and get a picture with Palm Springs welcomes you behind it.
Awesome.
So it's really more of a graphic design rather than a traditional mural.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
And Chair, if I may, I wanted to add a couple of project updates.
Of course.
Yeah, 'cause now that I'm wrapping up, I've got two projects, so sort of my final two projects. And Jay can give me some information on these. I believe the contracts have gone out both for Madawi, for the only other thing is nothing, which will be installed on the art park part of the downtown park. And as long as the contract has been out and a deposit is forthcoming fairly soon, that means that this installation will probably happen before the end of June. The other project that is moving forward, which we've approved and has gone into contract, is Ryan Campbell's crawler. So again, Ryan will have the deposit soon, which means that he can start getting onto the production, which we're at a time with the deinstall of the car. That will leave, once we know the install date for Ryan Campbell, so project probably September.
And do you think we need the new engineer to look at Ryan Campbell's work? Jay?
I think Ryan has already done an engineering report.
Both Ryan Campbell and Madawi included engineering costs in their budgets.
Yeah.
Okay,
So they, I believe, have engineers on hand.
okay.
Well, yeah, actually, Madawi has applied the engineering
Right.
for his piece because it was installed first in New York City, and they did an extensive engineering report on that one.
It's okay. And then we'll be dealing with the removal of the car at our next commission meeting.
I would add, we'll get some input on the strength of that parking garage. So there may be some early work for the engineer, but I'll work with our current staff to see, get their direction on that.
But yeah, one thing to keep in mind, we did actually, when we did the budget for the installation of the car, our $25K was for retrofitting for that location.
Right.
specific, so it's weight bearing now. And because Ryan and Campbell's crawler will not be any heavier than the car.
Yeah, and the weight is spread out, whereas that is centralized on that piston.
Yeah.
So. I would just like to make one further comment, and that was when I joined the commission, the then chair was Chair Merrigan. Chair Merrigan came in at a tumultuous time and, middle of pandemic still, and she sort of righted the ship, kept things at pace, made sure things didn't go off track. And she gave me a lot of support and insights. And then at our second meeting, I believe Vice Chair Richard quit the commission in the meeting, and he was going to move to Albuquerque, if you recall, at the second meeting. And I then went to him and I said, "You're not leaving. That's good." I said, "But I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna follow you around because you've done a lot of work in Palm Springs. You've done a lot of public art, and I want to learn from you." And he sort of looked at me like, "Yeah, okay. Go get me a soda." And so Russell has been a wonderful ambassador of the Public Arts Commission to me personally. He has been a wonderful mentor on how to get things done. And he was a wonderful chair when I was vice chair. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank Russell for all of his years of service to not only the Public Arts Commission, but also the city of Palm Springs. And his legacy will be the big, beautiful piece of artwork that we continue to have and think of him. So thank you very much. Thank you.
And on that note, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Do we have any reports from?
Oh, sorry, Jay.
Thank you. Yeah, commissioners, we still have the meeting next week for June 21st. I just want to confirm we would be canceling that.
Yes.
Okay, then we can plan for the following meeting, July 19th.
Well, that brings up a good point, and this is something I guess for you and Scott, and I can send an email. But two of the council members have mentioned they would like to attend our meetings, but because they're at the same time as the airport commission, and they asked if we could move our meeting because it's easier for us than the airport commission, which has 20 people. So I want to ask the other commission if, could it be the second Wednesday of every month or the fourth Wednesday, or are there other days that we can do them not to conflict? Because I do believe the more support and interaction we have with the city manager and the city council people, the better we will be.
Right. We can look for a day, but we have a lot of commissions, and
Understood.
a lot of these days are already taken.
Yep.
But sounds like the objective would be to not meet at the same time as something like airport, planning commission,
Measure J.
those majors. Yeah, Measure J. Okay.
So like we can, Human Rights Commission, I'm kidding, Jay does both.
So perhaps a time change or something.
Yeah. So yeah, if you could find a time that would work, if we can move, get access to the room, we're doing good work, we're doing thoughtful work, and I know that the council people don't have time to listen to the video. And several of them have asked that they would love to come, but there's other obligations at that same time.
It would probably need to be the same time of day, just a different day
yes,
that we.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If we could do a 5:30 the second Wednesday of every month,
Right.
it would not be 2 in the afternoon.
We'll take a look.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you. And so on that, I think I interrupted as you were getting a second on the adjournment.
I'd like to second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, Russell.
Thank you all.